Today we're going to begin on Amud Chof Hey, paragraph beginning with Al Pi Hanal. So we from now on we're more or less going to clean up and conclude this hagaha, the seventh hagaha of the set of hagahos, and we've basically concluded what we have to say about the shitta of the Rekanti till now. Okay. I'm going to introduce a slightly separate concept, and in the middle of this paragraph we have also a further hagaha which comes with Shuli Hagilyon. This was something that was written whilst what we're reading at the moment was written in Tafresh Nun Beis in 1892. This hagaha was an additional hagaha that was added in Tafresh Nun Ches when the Rebbe Rashab came back to the hagahos which he'd written in Nun Beis, and I want to read through till the end of the hagaha, and really to the end of the paragraph following the hagaha first, and then we'll come back to this additional sort of footnoted hagaha which comes with Shuli Hagilyon. Okay. So pianal yuva mashmatinu inyan hashira b'hakelim. So based on everything we've explained above, that the Ein Sof has two kavim shkulim. One kav is the keich hagvul, and one kav is the keich habligvul. The kav habligvul is the mokir kav, and the kav is the mokir of the Eiris of Atzilus, and the keich habligvul is the mokir reshima, and the reshima is the mokir kelim, and the kelim are the inyan of whilst the kelim are still at Tzilus and they're still Elikus, they are shaykh to be called Bria, at least in relation to the Eiris, because they exist as in a matzav of like a yesh nifrod, because like we gave the mashal of a nitzutz, which is nifrod, and we added the mashal of a child, the gabi, the parents, and that is the characteristic of the kelim. So based on all of that which we've explained, we can understand why there is this concept of shira in kelim. What's the meaning of shira? So you learn footnote 294, there's a reference to an Ezras. So Maimah there, Oz Yashir in Ezras, which is worth having a look at. It's not just in Kufsuch Samach Dalet, go a bit earlier, Samach Gimel, Samach Beis, and it gives a explanation of the inyan of shira. Shira is the inyan of being of Yitzia Me'ag Bolis. So shira is associated with a tenua, a movement outside of a state where you're already at. So the premise of shira is the premise of Hagbolah, because the whole function of shira is to aris came from Hagbolah. You talk about the shiras hamalachim. The malachim have a guf tak, guf ruchni. But the inyan of the shiras, the malachim, is the aliyah, is the inyan of aliyah. Yeah? So, based on what we said above, we can understand why. So, shira is understood by nivroim of biyah. It's understood, they're mugbolim. So, for sure, you can associate with them the inyan of shira. But even the kelim of atzilus, which are lekus and which are atzilus, they still have an inyan of gvul and hagbolah. And therefore, it makes sense to associate with the kelim of Atzilus, the inyan of shira. Says in Tilim, Elikim, don't be silent. You should not be silent. But you do the Elikim, when we say Elikim in that pasuk, is a reference to Bechinas HaKelim. For your sake, Kavod will sing to you and will not be quiet. What's Kavod? Kavod Malchus. Kavod is the kelim of Malchus, levush of Malchus. Kavod Malchuscha Yemeru Rasinaveri. Yeah, Kavod Malchus, levush of Malchus, the clear of Malchus. And we also have from the Zayah the lashon Nahira Tata'a Ka'ari Tadil Nahira Ilav Shachich. So that Zoyar is on that pasuk. So the Zayah on the Pasuk of Manzamechel Chavel Yidim says that the Nahira Tata, the lower Eir, is constantly yearning to the higher Eir, calling out, yearning and calling out, and doesn't rest. So Nahira Tata, what is this lower light? Ubechinas Malchus. Ba'ik ubechinas Akelim de Malchus. When we say Malchus, even though we call it Nahira, we call it Eir, we mean the Ikka, the Indian of Kelim, of Malchus. Which goes to be Razei Pash B'Shalach, Amayim Azoya, Daf Mechesam and Beis, B'Dim Masach, Tzadik Yamachuli. V'lich Eira. Einim moving. This Indian of Shira by the Kelim is not understood. Eich Shaykh Shira B'Kelim, Datzilus. Shari getting the Kus Mamish. Something's a Likus, and something is Bligvul. Then what's it singing about? In what sense does it want to be Eila? Now moving, but based on what we said above, it makes sense. Mishum Kelim, even though they're Likus, Shoshim Me'arishima, Ve'im Bechinas Helam Gvul, Va'erin is Alim. They're in a state of Gvul. And the Oy, which is Mahavadim, is in a state of Helam. Or is it, in a way, it's a Gilu of that Helam? Well, as a Shaykh Bahem in Yinashir, so you can say, all of these references, Halakim Adam Yilachin Tilim, the Pirish Azayah of the Manis Vachachavel Yidim, the Hirdat Akar Tadil Hirei Lav Leishachich, all those things are Shaykh in the Kelim of Atzilus. Tainu Shet Ta'ivim Lam Shachas Viskalas, Eirin Seif Bahem. They have a desire that there should be a Gilu Alikus of Eirin Seif in them, because they're aware of their own Hakbala. It motivates them to sing, or at least in the Moshel, right? There is a Tnu of Aliyah and Aris Game from Zich. Okay, ignore the asterisks. Mikol anam moving Kelim Da'atzilus Heim Begeder Mokir LeMokir LeBiyah. So now we can see, so it has this element to it, it's element of Gvul. The Kelim could be understood. The same is understood how they're a Mokir, and not just a Mokir LeMokir LeBiyah. They're still Atzilus, they're still a Likus, but they have an union of Makarius to the union of the Gvul of Biyah. Since the whole manner of the emergence of the Kelim, like the Rakanti, is in a manner of Hafrada, not like the Ma'areches, where the Ma'areches says it's all A, which is Me'ina Ma'e, right? The Rakanti gives you this added notion, how it's a distinct formation of the Kelim in contrast to the way the Eiris attack Eiris Me'ina Ma'e. But the Kelim are netzlu as a dove nifr if they ask me commercial hanitzutz she'ein hadveikus behem begili lochein heim bebechinas gvul lahag bela eiris da atzilus these bebechinas chachma v'chesed. They're able to be magdil the ein, so it should be poyel in an oifen of chachma, be poyel in an oifen of chesed. Alkein heim begedeli is mokil bebechinas hayeshik gvul debiyah. So that is sufficient for it to be not a mokil for biyah. It's still Atzilus, still goes Amaki, Lumaki. Meaning ultimately they have a Shaykhs. Bein Areich, but a Shaykhs. They have an Erech such that you can say it's Bein Areich. Something that's not Be'erech, you can't even say it's Bein Areich. It's the Shlil of Erech, but it's still the Shlil of Erech. So, not Chas V'Shalom saying that this Gvul is episode of the Shaykhs, as we're going to see, and this is what this whole Hagah started on, is a Chachma, but Leiba Chachma Yediyah. Kule Chachma, Shkoyach, Chakim, but Leiba Chachma Yediyah, as we're going to now point out. Now, Chavzayin, yeah, on the Chavzayin. Hagam Shebe'etzem Einam Be'erech Klal Debiyah. Hu Bechinas Yesh. The Kelim, the Atzilus and Melikus Mamish, there's no real erech between Biyah and Atzilus. The Kelim of Atzilus, because Biyah is a Yesh Take, a Dov Nifrod, whereas Atzilus is a Likus. Mikol Mokim, Achash Nesru Liyis, Bechinas Dov Bifnei Atzmai, Ve'im Bechinas Leimai. It's Leimai, you know, when you say Leimai, to Zogan to Yanim. So it's like a Mamutza. Shehem b'chinas mokim. V'hinei, top of Chav Ches, B'geris HaKodesh Siman Chav. Dibar Maskli Vayuchad. Koyach HaYishavus U'Ba'ir Davke. It says, the capacity to create anything, the Koyach HaPoyel is the Oir. The Oir is the Koyach, which is Poyel, the Chayas. But it's Poyel Al Yidei HaKelim. Fishu Me'ein HaMoir, because it's Me'ein HaMoir, Hu Muhus V'Atz Musay Shel HaMatz Baruch Hu Shemitz Yusim Yatz Musay. Since the Oir is Me'ein HaMoir, and the Moir is a Metzias B'fnei Atzmai, therefore the Koyach to create something, Zadova B'fnei Atzmai, is in the Oir. It carries that Koyach, because it's Me'ein HaMoir, which is a different B'fnei Atzmai. Davka, the Eibishter Lane, has the power to create Me'ein Yesh because it's the only thing which is a taka of the nifra b'fnei atzmai. But if we want the Yesh Nivra to be taka bal gvul and to have a midah and not just be bottled to elikus, because the oir, whilst it has the koyach eishavus, was nemzich from the mokke, from the mo'oir, the poyel, it's completely bottled, and it would completely obliterate any sense of selfhood and identity in the nivra. So, in order that the nivra should be able to be a bagul midah and experience the experience of being or the sense of mitziyusim yatzmusay, so ali the kelim the esespheres has to be by means of the kelim. Why? Because the iyu v'gam mu'ichad livroi b'ayim al yodam me'ayin yesh. Because azay v'iyu v'chayu ichad, iyu is also v'gam mu'ichad. And it's through them that it's possible for that to be the bria mi'ayin liyesh. V'zeu sha'kelim nikroim tikkunim. And that's why the kelim are referred to as tikkunim. Like we've explained at length earlier. Shemasaknim as ha'oir. This was back in Is Aleph. They're masakin as ha'oir. They fix and improve the oir. The bichdei sheyifil ha'oir lahav is nivroim baligvul, because in order for the oir, which has the keiches av as well, because it's an oir which is me'ein ha'mo'oir, in order for it to be poyel, effective, and not be impotent, the oir ba'etzmu bligvul, because the oir itself is bligvul and is incapable of creating baligvul, so al yidei ha'kelim chulikan now. And so therefore the kelim are masakin as ha'oir. They fix the problem that the oir has, that it's not able to create the nivroim baligvul. Zel shekosa bepirush anthu chakim. And this is what it means when we explain anthu chakim. Now, before we say this, I want you to actually go back to before this hagah. We're going to go all the way back.
Page.
Let me find it. It will be page. It's a while ago. Just so you can get the flow now of what's being said. I think you have to go all the way back to Omid Tess, maybe.
Right, I've got Ches, but that might be the wrong one. Beginning of base. Second to last line, the Chotok Lavin.
No, that's the sixth hagah. The next hagah starts on Tess, about 10 lines down. Dinin is boiler ill. The Esespheres. That's where we started.
Okay.
You have it? So I want you to go 2 lines beforehand. I want you to go to Ki Hine Anthu Chakim.
Right.
So this is the Maim Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe says, Ki Hine Anthu Chakim. We say that you are Chakim. Pirush. What does it mean? Ant. Who is the you? Hainu Eirin Seif. Chakim, meaning that you're nimshach bebechinas chachma, and Eirin Seif, the Eiris of Atzilus, are nimshach to be a chachma. Al derech b'mokim sha'ata meitza k'dei losei, like it says, the place where you find his greatness, where you find his humility. In order to say, oh, the Eiris of grace of chacham, it's a simon. Wherever you see the Eiris of grace kite, it's a simon of his anivus. That he was metzamsim as atzmei in order to be grace. But adayin eine chakim b'chachmi yediyah. But he's not Chakim in any known sense of Chachma. The known sense of Chachma, the way it is in Biyah. Ela shenikra Chakim, the way in which we call it Chakim is lefishu mekeir ha-Chachma, umimenu hamshachas Chachma Biyah. So the Chachma of Atzilus is not a Chachma. It's a Mokir of Chachma. Or a Mekeir of Chachma, even more accurately. Now go back to Amud Chaf. What are we up to? Zayin? What are we up to? Chaf. Ches.
Yeah.
V'zehu shakosu bepirush antu chakim. Antu eirin soif. Chakim shenimshech bebechinas chachma. V'hainu, now we're going to explain a bit more. Bechinas hakli shuhu hanikra chachma. We've got this big distinction. Not talking about not ant eirin soif shlifnei atzilus. Chakim on nimshech in chachma eir ha-chachma. You mean antu eirin soif, which is the eir of atzilus. Chakim is nimshech in the kli of chachma. Whereas for the Ma'areches, you could say Antu Chakim, even on the Oir, not just in the Kli. So move Mikola now the Oir, who bechinas bilti bal gevul v'hainu bechinas koyach agilu de ein soif, bechinas ha'oir be'etzem ein shaykh bechinas chachma, ba'akli the shoshem ha'rishim shu bechinas koyach ha'helem ba'agvul shebein soif, lochin ha'kli hu bechinas chachma. Right? But like it says, now we're just requoting what we said before, but with clarity. But it's not a chakim b'chachma idea. The oirin so commission mislabish b'chachma nikra gamkin chachma. Even the oirin soif, which is mislabish in the kli, is called chachma. Shakli magbilas ha'oili is b'chinas chachma v'chesed, because at that time he's being poyel in an oifen of chachma v'chesed. Umikomokim ain't a beginner's idea. Why? It's not just that the oir is not chachma, the kli is also not much of a chachma, because it's also a likus. But ain't a beginner's chachma idea. Shu beginner's yeshu murgush is that nikra chachma idea. What do you mean chachma idea? Chachma idea is the pshat. Chachma, which is nirgush. There's no awareness of chachma. The ein is shaykh loim mekain al chachma d'atzilus. She begins a likus mamish. You can't say that there is any real sense of chachma in atzilus. When you have a when we look at the moshel of a person, in the person, we talk about how you have seichel agolu, which is, we're talking already in bina, in pratim, mamish murgish. The person is margish, the chachma, right? It's a chachma, that you call a chachma idea. But even if you go into a tifra into chachma, the way chachma is in the shikol edela, there's no tfis in oisius so much. It's a barak hamavrik. It's a sort of an akudas haseichel, but it's still a seichel murgish. You're not. It's what you're not feeling heat. You're not feeling. What is the hergish abadavan? What is your self awareness, your self consciousness? You're conscious that you're processing seichel. And even if you want to go tifa, the keich hamaskil, and even if you want to go even tifa, the keich saklulim and nefesh, which is mamish, it's not nirkish b'chlal, right? It's very, very, but you're a sentient human being. The fact that you have seichel, you have a yechilus of seichel, it's nirkish, right? That's a chachma yidin. Even chacham stima, whatever you want. All of your own personal levels, that's what you mean chacham yidin. Now of course, when we're talking about atzilus, it's not that's not what it is. All it is pshitas ha'oir, which is a mocker, the mocker. through this Eir, the Eir is itself not a Makir, the Eir through this establishment in the Priya Chachma is able to be a Makir of Chachma. So Antu Chakim, we call you Chakim, why? Because Chachma comes from you. But it's not Nirgish there. There's no sense in which that is an inyan of Chachma. Just like there's no, as we're gonna see in the next shtickle, there's no sense, because most of these Hagois now are all flowing into each other. They're separated by a few lines sometimes of the Maimon Alter Rebbe, but now to the end of the page, which is like we're only about halfway through, is one big flow. But I'm saying in the next one, it's like this. You say that in the seed is the shadish of the sweetness of the apple, and even higher, the mazel is what. But there's no there's no taste of sweetness. It's not nirgish. The sweetness is not nirgish. We're going to get that. We don't want to jump the gun. V'gam demashak li de chachmu b'chinas hakbala chachma v'lei chesed chuli. This center there is this. You can't deny the fact that the kalim are being magbul in different ways. That this A should be a makar of chachma. This A should be a makar of chesed. Hari b'chinas keich hagvul shebein seif adayin. Ainu be'etzem atzilus v'lei b'chinas gilui. Im kein eine b'chinas chachma yidei adayin. Don't get confused. Don't get sidetracked by the fact you got esos v'ris, esos leitesha, esos le'echodasa. Because the Hagbala is merely enabling the Oy to be poil in this Oifen. But be poil in an Oifen bli gvuli. At that time, it's still an Oifen bli gvuli. It's not, there's no Hagbala in it. Alasha nikra chakim. So why is it called chakim? D'fishu makeir hachachma. V'koi al bechinas ha'oir v'hakli d'chachma. When we say antu chakim, talking about the Eirus and Kalim of Atzilus. Yeah? V'agam she'ein arei chacham debriya chuli. Kol shkein dasya. Liyois nikroim b'shem chakim al shem zeh. So, but it's just a mocking. And it's be'ein arei to the chachma. You find in Bria, and how much more so in Yitzir Nasiya, to say it's a comparable notion of Chakim, the way it's Natzilus, to the way it is in Eilam Bia. Okay?
Okay. Is that the end of the...
So that's the end of the seventh Hagah. But very shortly, you have a little bit of the Alter Rebbe here. If you look, if you go to the top of Chavtes, the middle Atamaschil, you have a whole very long Hagah. I think the eighth Hagah is going to go for like about 6 pages or so. For the next Hagah. Okay, so the Kitzer. What did the Hagah? Because it's not like a Maimah. In a Maimah, it's easier to follow. Because you've got, Hemshech, for example. You can, in your head, you have like ways of categorizing things. This was in this moment, this was in that moment. You can split things up easy with the Hagah. It's not so simple. And it's good to keep track of each phase and each Hagah. As I say, Hagah 7, which we just finished. And then Hagah 8. And then there's a 9. How many? Till the end of the Perek. You have 14 Hagois. No. 14 Hagois.
More?
Total 14 Hagois. So what we up? You just finished Zion. So you got another 7? Another 7 Hagois. A few of them are very short. Yud is a short Hagah. Gimels and Yudalad are pretty short Hagois. But Ches and Tes are both very long. And Yudalad is long. Ches, Tes, and Yudalad are the long ones. Sorry, Yudalef. I want to say Yudalad. Yud Beis. I want to. I've got my numbers here on. So Zion was long. Zion was the first one of this Perek. No, we're talking about that. What we have with the others?
Zion's the longest one, yeah.
1 second. Let me just get my
5. First one of
5 and 6. 5 and 6 were short. Yeah, the first 4 Hagos was on the first Perek. Hagah Hey to Yudalid is the second Perek. The Hey and Vav were short. So you got Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud Beis, and Yudalid. Okay, so we've got some more to go, and they're all going to blend into each other. They're going to build on each other. But let's try and just clarify. What was the point of this Hagah? The point of this Hagah was to explain the concept of Antu Chakim B'loi B'chachmi Yediyah. And to do that, he presented to us 2 interpretations, 2 shittas in the Eiros and Kelim Batzimus. Shittas HaMa'areches and the Shittas Harakanti. And he explained how the Maimah over here is following the Shittas Harakanti. And based on that is how he's going to explain it going forward. Yeah, so when you say Antu Chakim B'loi B'chachmi Yediyah, it makes sense now how Antu, which is Eirin Seif, which is Pasha B'tachas Apshitus, is Nimshach to be Poel Al Yidei Kli to the spheres, but those spheres are also Elikus, and that's why it's like B'chachmi Yediyah, because it's Be'ein Areich L'gabi Biyah. And obviously a lot more, but everything we've discussed. But that was the Nakuda, and that was the function of this Hagah. That good? Let's just have a quick look at the Shuli Agilion, which for us, Beigri Ranat is Gog Geschmack. So he writes, this is an addition from the Nches, that you can understand the inyan of the different sort of tnois, the different behaviors of the Eiros and the Kalim, how the Kalim are still shaykh the Shira, whereas the Eiros aren't. He says it's similar to the difference between Yechudei Lo and Yechudei Tata. So the difference between the Eiros and Kalim would be like the difference between Yechudei Lo and Yechudei Tata. So what does he do? He brings from the Tanya Peichaf and Chaf Aleph and quotes pretty much verbatim until the middle of Amud Chaf Vav. Yeah? Yeah? And he says, Ubir Inyanhu. He says, Ubir Ha'inyanhu. And this for us is a Chazara of Lulav Arava, and also some from Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah too. He goes through a very beautiful kitzur of what would later become the fundamental basis of Hemshech Hanat. Without, things have been missing, but it's a clear articulation of Lulav Arava primarily. Yeah? And you see that in the footnotes, it mentions it. Although it references also to quite a lot to Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah. If you look in Ha'ara 3:14, it does references to Yom Tov Rosh Hashanah, Tafkin.
And that Amud Nun Dalet is 309.
Yeah, that is Lulav Arava. Let's just go to the end of the Hagah, which is on Amud Chav Ches. Go to the Nimtza, which is 4 lines from the bottom, penultimate word of the line. Nimtza shebehechrich loima sheyesh oisius be'etzem hanefesh mamish. That's because a person is able to give birth to a child who's able to speak. Ela shasham einam mitzias yesh klal ad she'einem nikorim ugoshim la'at mikla. So in the Eirin Seif, when the Kalim, when the Oisios are not Nikar, it's not Shaykh Inin Ashira. That's the Inin Yechudei Lo. The Eirin Seif Shlefnei Atzimtzum. This is what we said in this already goes late in the Gemashmi Atzeres. But the Pirush Yichudei law is the Ein Sof Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Whether Oisiyos Eina Mugashim Klal, and there's B'tum Mitzias. It's only afterwards, whether Oisiyos Al B'chinas Yesh, that you have Yichudei Tato. So here he's saying you identify that in what we're saying over here, that the Oidus of Atzilus is the Inyan of Yichudei law, and the Kenim of Atzilus is the Inyan of Yichudei Tato. You understand? It's the whole beautiful kitzur we have over here. He says, but Yan, the Inyan Yichudei law, Yichudei Tato, Ein Shaykh Kol Kach Lekan. But since Yichudei law, Yichudei Tato is not really so shaykh over here, we're not talking about that now. I held back from writing about it over here. That's why he says, you don't have to copy this. It's just a gedank that I had. That he writes in the winter of Nun Ches. And it was such a good gedank, it was such a good idea. He decided to make a whole hemshech out of it. The next summer, when he was in Aftacha, thinking about what hemshech to do for Rosh Hashanah and Ranat, this was the foundation of what he built upon. So that's nice for us. Okay, so that's going to be for now, and we'll start next time the shtickle from the Alter Rebbe, starting from Pinya in Yuvan on Amud Chav Ches, and start the 8th Hagah Be'ezras Hashem.